Hello, and welcome to the Global Football Podcast. Today we are doing something different and we are doing a preview for the game because we have actually managed to be organized enough to do the preview before the game. And it's the big game, it's both of our teams battling it out in the Premier League. So it's today Newcastle United versus Manchester United. Monish, are you excited for this?
As excited as I can be, I don't think the timing is really great. But then I think even Newcastle United is going through its own spate of injuries. Manchester United is having its bad luck with form. It's not bad luck, it's just bad form. But yeah, it's an exciting game nonetheless, and I hope for a good game. I hope for a lot of goals, but I'm just worried that Newcastle United will probably crash us.
You're right with the fact that it's probably a game at the wrong time for both the teams because both of us are disrupted with injuries quite a bit. Just talking about Newcastle United, we don't really have much team news. I don't think Eddie Howe has any more fit players to call upon. We have 11 players and that's about it. So I think from a team news perspective, we can pretty much expect the same team that faced Chelsea and PSG, which is Nick Pope in goal, Trippier and Livramento as wing backs, and Lascelles and Schär as centre backs. In the midfield, I think we can expect Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, and young Lewis Miley, his third top class game against top class opposition in about 7 days. He faced Chelsea, he faced PSG away, and he's now probably going to face Manchester United. I think it's too much to ask from him to really play at a top level in all these games back to back, but I don't think really we have an option. Up front, hopefully Alexander Isak is up for his third game in the same amount of time because he's had his problems with injuries. Anthony Gordon and Almiron are our players on the wings. What about Manchester United, Monish? Whom do you have fit?
So we have a bit more players fit than Newcastle United, but a few of them are not playing for various reasons, and I think problems with the boss. Andre Onana is going to start in goal because I think Erik ten Hag doesn't want to change his goalkeeper. He had a couple of blunders, so he normally does come off from a bad performance with a better performance. So and they have been basically better defensively recently in the Premier League, playing left back, but with Luke Shaw back, he has a chance to play centre back again. Maguire has been decent. He has been giving some of those forward passes he had before. He's looking like a leader on the pitch, so that's interesting. Luke Shaw coming back is a big. It's a big upgrade, and changes the whole face of the left back. Honestly speaking, right back, because of the fact that Newcastle has such a strong left-sided attacking position, I think he might go with Aaron Wan-Bissaka over Diego Dalot. Just because Newcastle, I noticed Alexander Isak prefers also to come in from the left, isn't it?
Yeah, he plays striker, but he does like to do that sort of Henry-esque run from the left channel.
From the left channel, and most of your attacks do come on the left, and on the right, most of the time it's an overload.
Gordon
on the left.
is far more better as an attacker than Almiron.
Exactly, and Almiron gets in chances because of a left-sided overload most of the time, from what I saw. Yeah. So you cannot say I don't watch Newcastle United for a change.
Trippier's overlaps.
Yeah, it does. Trippier's overlaps do work, but again, the crosses do come for someone on the other side.
Trippier's the guy who's the highest amount of chances created in the league of any team, and he's a bloody right back. So, Luke Shaw on that wing, I'm sure, is a massive upgrade.
Exactly. So I'm a bit more confident there. The center of the midfield is the bigger problem. You guys have Bruno Guimaraes and I think Joe Linton, isn't it? Yeah. We have our own young Kobe Manu, who's, he's a decent player.
How old is Manu again? Is he?
I think he's 18 or 19, if I'm not wrong. Okay. And that's what it is. I mean, he hasn't played much top flight football. He had a very good preseason. They were hoping for him to come good, and he got injured. Ericsson isn't there, and so I think Manu will be with Scott McTominay. I'm not really impressed with Scott McTominay as a full-time midfielder because I noticed that when he's playing up front and he gets the chance, he shoots rather than passes. There'll be Bruno Fernandes as well. Up front, I think Holland is expected to come back. Rashford is expected to come back. I think they'll go with Holland, Rashford, and Antony, and maybe Garnacho off the bench, or in some case or the other, they might bring in Garnacho. And however, unfortunately, although I don't agree with it, I think Erik ten Hag will go with Antony, because according to Erik ten Hag's belief, not my belief, Antony brings in more defensive structure and positioning. For some reason loves Antony, and in big games he goes to him. However, that has changed for a bit recently this season. But I think against Newcastle he might go with Antony, although Antony can easily lose the ball in bad positions. The same reason being for which he might bring in Van Bissaka on the right wing, because he's better defensively and man to man.
So, what do you think your tactics will be from a Newcastle United perspective? I think everybody who comes to us knows what our tactic will be. It'll be high intensity, pressing from the top of the penalty box and trying to push you into a mistake within your final third, and us trying to capitalize from that mistake and trying to score that goal. That's worked out quite well for us. Even last week against Chelsea, we pressed them with the same team, and Louis Smiley became the fourth youngest player in Premier League history to record an assist. I think Manchester United can expect that. Do you think you'll have a tactic to sort of combat that?
So Erik ten Hag mostly this season has tried to play with the front four players, trying to win the ball and then going back for a low block whenever required. I'm also worried that he might bring in Amrabat for this game. I don't think he should play in this game. He has not played really well. Let's be honest. He's been losing the ball whenever he's come onto the pitch in recent games, and I'm not at all impressed with him. So the thing is, he'll try to press in with the front four, and Manchester United tactics have been give the ball to Bruno and let's see what he does. I just think Luke Shaw coming in opens up that left side, and Manchester United as well are stronger on the left side. Be it Rashford, be it Garnacho coming in, be it Luke Shaw, I think that's where our attacking impetus will come in from. But tactically, we really are. We have had almost no output from the right wing, and I don't really. I just hope that there's something they can do. Or just to be honest, I don't really know what our tactics are going to be. And ask Manchester United fans; they'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah, that's
you
all great. But
you tell me what are Manchester United tactics this season, and just explain it to me.
No,
I'm not able to understand.
That has been the initial plan, as you rightly said. You're trying to press up front, and then I think you get bypassed very easily. And when you get bypassed, you fall back quite steep. And
I don't think with Kobe Manu and with Kobe Manu and maybe Scott McTominay in the midfield, it's a team that should press up front, because that's a very weak midfield.
Yeah,
defensively,
I think that's where the match is probably going to be dictated.
You mean
winning the midfield battle?
You mean that's where Manchester United is going to lose the game?
Can't say. Perhaps Mino will have the game of his life. I haven't seen him a lot, and I haven't seen him except for that one game last week to know really how he is.
Yeah, but I don't expect him to stamp his authority against Joelinton and Bruno Guimaraes. He's a good player, but he's still not there.
But again, we have two great players, Joelinton and Bruno Guimaraes in midfield, who play now for Brazilian national team by themselves as well.
Exactly my point.
It's going to be Louis Smiley is going to be difficult for him to have this sort of match within 7 days and playing the whole 90 minutes again. I don't know whether he'll be able to do it, and in which case you have a lot more experience in that
where?
area.
Who? Like who? Where?
Bruno Fernandes, McTominay, Amrabat, and are all more experienced players. It doesn't.
Experience doesn't mean they're good. I mean, whatever. Like McTominay has the number of midfielders Manchester United tried to blood in when Scott McTominay was in the team shows you how much trust they actually have in Scott McTominay as a complete all-round midfielder. The number of midfielders, and every season we keep calling out for midfielders.
Is Mason Mount injured?
Yeah, thankfully. Yeah, so Christian Eriksen, Mason Mount and Casemiro are injured. Now those guys, even Mason Mount for that matter, they have experience, and at least Eriksen and Casemiro sometimes can control the midfield, and they have really good games. I don't expect the same from McTominay from a midfield aspect. Yes, he's never controlled the game.
Yeah. I guess the two things which will obviously dictate this game is going to be the midfield battle, as we said, and finally the fitness levels. Both of our teams took a knock in Europe during midweek, and it's going to be fun to see who will bounce back from that mental sort of defeat and the physical toll of going away to a European game and then coming back and having to battle this again. It's we are from a Newcastle United perspective, we are a completely stretched squad. We will again probably name three goalkeepers on the bench today, and a bunch of youngsters who has never played before. But it's going to be difficult, I think, from a physical perspective, to especially the way we play with that intensity and whether we'll be able to do it again. So I think it's an open game. Both teams have a chance, and may the best team win.
I think all in all, Manchester United are really depleted in their midfield. First things first, they didn't really have much of a midfield to say, and then most of the first choice midfielders have been injured. In the striking department, they do have people coming in. I mean, even if they play with the front three, I would wish they start with that's Holland, Rashford, and Garnacho. They still have someone like an Anthony to sometimes create something, or Martial, who scored his customary goal against Everton recently. Well taken goal. I mean, that's all Martial does, but he does take a score against Everton. So yeah, I think that's his 10th goal against Everton, if I'm not wrong. And he scored like 60 or 70 odd goals for United in the Premier League. So yeah, so that's it. I don't expect Manchester United to win. It's more like United can probably win 1-0, or Newcastle will thrash them 4-1 or something of that sort. That's what I am expecting.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably the likely outcome.
But
one of
Newcastle
those two things
has been topsy-turvy. They have come up in the big games, but they have also played badly. I mean, a couple of games that they lost, they actually played quite badly.
Yeah, against Bournemouth, we were really
against
bad.
Bournemouth, yeah, exactly.
And I think I'm quite worried that'll be the level of performance we can give, because we just don't have anybody to call off from the bench.
The thing is, your intensity
and
your style of play and intensity is very demanding, and that's not going to work unless you have a deep team.
Exactly, and we don't have a deep team because of the injuries. So I'm quite worried that might be the end outcome from this game. But fingers crossed.
Newcastle United has mostly played well when they have played against a direct rival or a team in the top 6 or 7. It's mostly against the teams lower down that they have been found wanting. To be honest, they have come up and turned up in the big games, but teams where they probably mentally expect to do fine, I think that's where they normally switch off or something of that sort.
To be fair, it's been a case of home and away performances, because we've been excellent at home for all sorts of teams, whether they're big teams, small teams, anybody. We've smashed them at home, but going away, the likes of Bournemouth, West Ham, Wolves, we have struggled against all those teams, and we have struggled against the bigger teams as well. Away from home, Manchester City, Brighton. We've struggled for that as well. So I think the fact that this is a home game plays in our favor, because we have done really well at home for the whole season. But it's a case of managing our injuries, managing our intensity, and making sure that we have something left in the tank to give against a team like Manchester United, and I hope we do.
Alright, so that's it for today. Our predictions for Manchester United versus Newcastle United.
Scoreline prediction, Monish, before we go.
I told you. It's either 1-0 to Manchester United or 4-1 to Newcastle United. Nothing in between.
You have to pick one.
Okay, 3-1 to Newcastle.
Okay. I'll go 2-1 to Newcastle United.
Alright. That's it. Thank you.
Alright. Take care, everybody. And like, share, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.